Hello and welcome to NEABcast, a podcast where we welcome guests and have a chat about the story behind who they are and how they've reached their goals. All this is hosted by me, Earswick All Blacks Chairman Jack Stearman, and I want to thank our sponsor, LSQ Garden Landscape Limited. Just hear all their information and visit their info on the bio below. We'll be hosting a number of players, ex-players and people of interest discussing everything rugby league and more as we delve deep into our guests' journeys on how they have become who they are today. If you like what you see, then please donate towards the Earswick All Blacks as we look towards returning to play. All the money raised will help towards the running costs of the club for the next season and onwards, as we've missed out on fundraising throughout the pandemic. You can do this by visiting the link below in our bio. Enjoy! Hello everyone, welcome to episode 3, and we've got a very special guest today. Not a rugby league player that we've had in the past, but someone that personifies mental toughness when being put through the most brutal of challenges, physical and mental challenges. And I welcome SAS Who Dares Wins Series 5 winner, Jimmy Priestley. So thanks, Jimmy.
Yes, good to be here. Thanks for having me, big guy.
No worries. How are we getting on?
Yeah, good. Thank you, mate. Keeping busy.
Good.
Try to stay ahead of the curve, but yeah, all good.
Easter weekend, up to much?
Not much. What can we do? So yeah, we'll just be chilling, killing, usual shenanigans. But nah, not much, mate. Oh, actually, I will tell you something. It's relevant to this. I am doing a lot of rowing this weekend because on Friday the 27th of August, I bet it sounds like this is all planned now and I was doing it to like come on.
Yeah, go on.
But it's not, it's just coming to my noodle, I promise you. On Friday the 27th of August, I'm going to attempt to break the Guinness World Record for the longest distance rowed on an indoor rower in 24 hours.
Wow.
So I'm doing quite a bit of rowing at the minute, yeah. So it's going to be like trying to make a big spectacle about it. So it's going to be in the back of a trailer for everybody to come and watch on Briggate, Main Street in Leeds.
Yeah.
And it'll just be 5:30 on Friday night, and I'll keep rowing until 5:30 on Saturday night. Or my heart will stop and I'll die or whatever,
I mean, I'll come back to that a bit later on, but you're right, it's about mental toughness, that, and I'll ask you about that a bit later on. But I want to start off with some quick fire questions. So I want quick answers, and we'll maybe try and discuss a bit later on. So describe yourself in 3 words.
Oof, sexy. 3 times over.
Yeah. Right, we'll go with that then. Never had that before, but, why not? What about being modest?
That's the second one.
Second one, yeah, good. What's your hidden talent?
Hidden talent? I tell you what, my hidden talent is making jokes at the worst times. So,
example, please.
Mainly at funerals to like lighten the mood, because I think that like banter and jokes and stuff, I think it's it's medicine to some people.
Yeah.
That I think that the social norm is in certain situations it's not okay to joke about stuff. Yeah. Whereas you know me and I know you, the social norm doesn't really apply to a lot of people, especially me. I just think if I think something's funny and I think it will cheer people up and they'll have a laugh, I'm saying it, and it's not, some people might get offended, and I just think that's their choice to be offended by it. But I'm there. My intention is not to upset people, it's to make people laugh. It's not really a hidden talent, people know, but I just think making jokes in the
awkward timings.
Awkward timings, mate. Yeah, that's what we're about.
Good. Like it. Favorite food?
Spaghetti bolognese.
Ball, nice. Favorite drink?
Oh yeah. So non-alcoholic.
Yeah.
First one. It's got to be Red Bull.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah.
5 on it. Alcoholic is spiced rum with some ginger beer.
Nice.
Drive on it.
Favorite song?
Hero by Enrique Iglesias.
All right. I mean, I'm sure that gets you through the tough mental challenges. I suppose it's about being modest again. You think you're a hero?
Yeah, basically singing that song about me, but you know, whatever.
Good. Favorite binge watch?
Binge watch. Peaky Blinders.
Peaky Blinders. Favorite film?
Transformers. Easy.
Okay. Favorite actor?
Ooh, Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy. Yeah. Can you cook?
Yes, I am surgical at cooking. Anything. Great British Bake Off. It won't be fair because I'd just kill it.
I'll tell you what, I might sign you up for that. Can you sing? Hero.
Yeah. Do you want me to sing something?
No.
Okay. Good choice.
Favorite place?
Favorite place? Oh, nice. Good question.
Yeah.
Right here, mate.
Good.
Right here at work.
At work, okay then.
Yeah.
What was your first job?
First job was I was a pot washer at, you might know it, but it hasn't been there for years. It was called the Stair Inn on the A1079.
That was the Wigginton one. Used to do yeah, I know what you're talking about.
There used to be a club there called the Squirrels, or something just off A1079.
Yeah. As you part of York on the left hand side. Or
yeah. It's like in between Pocklington and York on that little stretch.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Wow,
I ripped it up. Those pots got washed real good.
If you could do anything, what would it be?
As in, are you on about for a job wise?
Just anything, like.
As in, like, just do anything right now.
Yeah. Take the question as you want to.
Oh, good. Just give me 10 seconds.
Yeah.
If I could do anything right now, I'd want to fly out that window.
Yeah.
And whoever's got like an outdoor pool sat next to it, I'd just do a massive cannonball in it. Just like wherever it is. America, anywhere, just fly there.
While they've got a family sat around.
Just do what?
While they've got a family sat around having a barbecue. Yeah.
Like proper massive cannonball, water's empty, everyone's just covered, and then just get out of there and everyone's like, what the hell was that?
And then what do you do? Just dry yourself off and walk away?
Yeah, no, I'd probably dry whilst flying because, you know.
Oh, you fly back?
Yeah, I'd fly back. I think I'd stop off at like a superhero shop or something, and I'd bang one of them on like a cape and that. Because people would just think, why is that guy in a black, turtleneck flying through air? Whereas if I'm in a Superman outfit, they get it, won't they?
Yeah, true. Yeah, all right then, yeah.
With the hero thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. That makes sense now. Okay, last couple of questions then. Best bit of advice you've ever been given?
Best bit of advice? Oh, good.
I'm making you think for a Saturday.
Yeah, yeah, you've got me here. I like it. Best bit of advice probably was from Notorious B.I.G.
Yeah.
Where it said, don't chase them, replace them. So that's a motto I live by, really. Okay. Right. Is that what? And just explain that then. So it just applies to women in general. Like if a bird is being nasty to you, or if a bird leaves you or all like that, don't chase them, replace them. Yeah. Move on. That's it. Yeah. And I suppose, like I say, we'll come back to that mindset as well. Like, don't live in the past as well. Like, almost, there's always going to be something around the corner. It depends how you take it and you look at it, doesn't it? Your journey. Yeah, of course it is, mate. Tomorrow's a new day. That's how you got to look at everything. Yeah, definitely. I like that one. What are you most afraid of or scared of? I'll tell you my deepest fear, mate. I don't want to be tortured. Tortured. So my deepest fear is to be tortured to death. Okay. So that's kind of one of the only things. Everything else, I appreciate danger,
Yeah.
Like, things are dangerous and lots of things can kill you. But I just think there's no point being afraid of it. You know, like sharks and stuff.
Yeah.
What's the point being afraid? If it's gonna get you, it's gonna get you.
Yeah.
Whereas I do have a genuine fear of being dragged into a basement and someone torturing me.
Well, I suppose we might come back to that answer a bit later on as well. And what's your, I mean, I don't know if I dare ask you this question, but what's your best asset?
Woo! What's my best asset? It's my mind.
Yeah.
Of course it is. I mean, it's followed closely by my butt cheeks because
good.
it's like, you know, everyone refers to them like Brad Pitt's ass cheeks, but yeah, probably my mind.
Be a stunt double for him.
Yeah, I think so. And just like, you know, I reckon just it makes people happy. You know, if I just pull my pants down and do a dance with my butt cheeks going da 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 da.
I don't want to think about this. I don't want to think about this. Think about your mind. That brings on nicely then to SCS Who Dares Wins.
Yes.
Talk to me.
Well, mate, I wanted to apply for it initially because for the past, well, previous to it, so for the past like 11 years now, I've been my own boss, maybe even a bit longer. Being my own boss, you can be whoever you want to be. You're never really put into a position where you're forced to do something you don't want to do.
Yeah.
When you're your own boss, you do what you want to do. When you're going into meetings, you've got time to prepare for it. If you need something doing, you work really late and you think, I'm just not going to come in tomorrow because I've done some hours today and all that sort of stuff. You sort of put into a situation where you can be whoever you want to be. So ironically, I kind of lost what person I was. And I thought, I had a theory in mind that if I was to be pushed to the absolute limits somewhere, the raw person that you are, it can't be falsed.
Yeah.
You know, you can't make it up. It's who you are. When you're pushed to your limits and it's you go back to sort of your raw human state, don't you? Like when you put under pressure with stuff, it's very difficult to not be yourself. You either break because you're a weak person, or you keep going because you're a strong person, or whatever comes out when somebody needs help and you help someone, but you know, it's just one of those raw things. So I've been watching it for years, and I thought, you know what, this would be a sick sort of program, not only to go on and have the opportunity to do something on it, but to just see what sort of person I am. Going into it, just put under just unbelievable pressure and stress and pain to see who you are on the other side. So that was my intention. I actually applied for it the year before, you know.
Yeah.
And I didn't get in because I didn't share much of my story because I didn't want to, because I saw it as like a bit of a weak thing. But then on the flip side, I was like, by not sharing it, that's even weaker. Because we should talk about it. You should talk about the shit people have been through. So the second year round, went for all the trials, all the physical trials. There's quite a lot before you get, because there's like over 40,000 people that apply for it. And there's, as you know, there was like 22, I think, something like that get selected. So you go, they whittle it down through the physical trials, which again, it's not so much about fitness. These physical trials is like a mental thing, you know, like the beep test. Obviously, really fit people do well on that. But surprisingly, people who are not good at running marathons and long distance, but they're strong-willed, they end up doing all right on the beep test because it's about the pain in your mind, isn't it? And to just turn around and get to the beep again. So there's all that sort of stuff. Anyway, so this time around, I got in. And it was just, what I would say is, it was the worst experience of my life and the best experience of my life at the same time. And if everybody in the world had the opportunity to do something like this, you should do it to see what sort of person you are when you come out the other side. I
think that's a really good response about, you know, you're 30 years old ish. I know you don't look it, but you're 30 years old. Like I said, you've been your boss for 10 years, and you know, people see being your own boss as cushy, and you know, you can do what you want when you want, but that's not you. You've not been complete by that.
Yeah.
You're looking at your next challenge.
Yeah, of course. Always looking to to keep breaking through. And like, I know we'll obviously go deep into SAS, but SAS is in my past now. You know, it's something I've accomplished and wanted to achieve. And then, like I say, moving on to this rowing thing and doing other stuff. So you're right. Yeah, you've got to keep challenging yourself.
And when researching this episode of NEABcast and about yourself, everything, when you search Jimmy Priestley, SAS, Who Dares Wins, it brings up a link to the story of your past here up on the show. Now, I don't want to delve into that too much because obviously it's been exhausted, and if people want to watch it, they can watch it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I suppose, was that one thing that you've talked about your application process, how first time round you didn't mention your story? I assume that's the story you're talking about. But then the second time round, you felt like you had to do it because you were hiding behind it.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. So the story, just briefly, is growing up in a gangster environment, dad in and out of prison all the time, and for you know, just being affiliated with gangs and drugs and trafficking and all that sort of stuff. So it was the life we had, being threatened all the time. But something came along when I was in Bradford, when I was about 11, something like that, 11 or 12, got off the bus and just briefly got involved with this individual who was a big gangster in Bradford. And he later on, I found, used to use kids, young lads, who wanted that gangster life, which is what I did want. And felt cool. It's that sort of environment that you feel cool doing stuff like that, and you feel protected, you're part of something. So he used to take a couple of us into Keighley, into warehouses, and just fucking torture people that didn't pay, or that robbed, or that, I don't know, oppositions. To be honest with you, I had no idea really what the truth was. But this guy was so cool, and he spoke to us on such a level, like adults, that we were just doing what he said. But later in life, you know, you think about it, all these grown men were in balaclavas in this warehouse, and whatever we were doing to this guy, it was glued to a chair, or cable tied to a chair, or hanging upside down by his fucking legs. Loads of different, so many different things. We go there and they pass us a hammer, or they pass us something. We haven't got balaclavas on, but they all do. So that they've got plausible deniability that if this person was to ever go to the cops or all like that, it'd just say there were these two kids, or sometimes these three young lads that came in, and these are the ones that did stuff to me. But at the time, you don't know that. You know, we're just being groomed to do that shit. And I know for a fact, if I would have stayed in that environment, it would have just got 10 times worse. I would have just evolved, you know, into that sort of person, and the environment around me, that's what you would have become. But luckily, a massive transition happened. We moved to York. And we started going to a school where it was cool to be smart, and it was cool to be good at sports and whatever. I'm not saying I was any of those things, but that's the thing that's high up there, and that's what the birds like, and that's how you get a sort of bit of a status if you're good at stuff. Not being a tough guy, or being that's actually looked upon around York as a fucking loser, like a bit of a bottom feeder. If somebody's trying to be a tough guy, that's a fucking loser, is that? Whereas the smart person is the one you want to be affiliated with. So I started, you know, you change the way you look at stuff, and you don't want to be that person anymore. And I stopped speaking to my mates in Bradford because I wasn't about that life anymore. I wanted to be like a businessman now, or, you know, whatever I wanted to be, sort of things where the social norm is acceptable to be. So the reason why I brought that up is, what happened was, quite a lot of the time people would come to our house, even as kids or whatever, and they would have guns, they would have shotguns, and they'd be coming after my dad or coming after whatever, and police would be around a lot as well. So one of the last things that happened was my dad stole £1 million from these gangsters. And they obviously wanted to make a fucking example of him, so they came for me and my mum and my brother, and they beat him up. It all happened in the space of fucking 15-20 seconds, where they sort of came to our house and sort of beat him up, and we managed to get my mum away. But then as I was following my brother down the down the driveway, they'd fucking set off in the car and they'd hit me with a car. So they'd fucking run me over, and I'd gone flying into this bush, and then they'd, they fucked off or whatever. But obviously everybody knew about it then, and the police came and everything came to light that he'd stolen this money, but he'd also put the money through our bank accounts. So long story short, we were investigated for 4 years and later found guilty. So he'd put these from the age of sort of 17 to, I don't know, can't have been older than 18. So maybe for a year he'd put this money through our accounts. Yeah. So he'd put like 100 grand into, so he'd take our bank book, put 100 grand in, and then draw 100 grand out with these bank books over in, because he was on a boat up in the lake somewhere. And we were seen, which is correct, we were seen as the courts, even though we didn't profit from it, that we should have, known that that's the wrong thing to fucking do. Yeah. So you can't, they weren't just going to slap us on the wrists. They said you will do prison time if you don't admit guilt and put a guilty plea forward, in which case we'll give you a 2-year suspended sentence for 18 months. And I was on house arrest for 6 months and had to pay a fine and do 280 hours community service or something. So it was like, well, fucking yeah, let's plead guilty and just do that. Happy with that. But then little did we know, it still follows me to this day.
Yeah.
So that's the story that probably comes up when you search my name on stuff. Yeah. But
you see, I've known you since you were maybe 19, so what?
Yeah.
12, 13 years, something like that. And I never knew much about this really until the show. And I think like to see you in that kind of light, that it's only when you were 17, 18 that this stuff is still hanging around. And then a year or two later, I meet you and, we play rugby in the uni team and you're the same university as me. And then you go on to be a successful businessman. Like, to hide something like that from a lot of your close friends when you're at university, because you're only there for 3 years, you're a close group of people.
Yeah.
It must have left a cloud over you at some point to be like, actually, and not to be able to talk about it openly, I suppose, more than anything, or not wanting to talk about it openly, to then 10 years later, you're on a national TV program opening up about this whole thing.
Yeah.
Has it lifted a weight off your shoulders?
Oh, big time. Yeah, of course it is. You see, I saw it as a horrible fucking secret, that I didn't want people to know, because I was just embarrassed.
Yeah.
Because it's just embarrassing, what used to happen. But I later saw that it was a weakness to think like that, because if nobody spoke about the shit that's happened in your past, then how can anybody have the courage to get over it? You've got to air it out and say, listen, this is the worst thing about me, and fucking take it how you want. There'll be a lot of people that don't like me, and fair enough, I don't blame them. But a lot of people, I hope as well, will be inspired to go, fuck, yeah, actually, you can change. Mm. You've gone from this one extreme, like from sort of a massive gangster background, to the opposite, which is like, I try to be a gentleman, and a businessman, and I just try to protect people. Whereas, leading on to it, you don't know what sort of person you are, because you've come from these two extremes, and you do battle with yourself, like I'm sure everybody does. Everybody's got a dark side that keeps on, chirping to them when, I don't know, someone's done you wrong time and time again. There'll be a dark side inside you thinking, maybe I should just do them wrong as well. Yeah. Rather than the good side, which is saying, just let it go. I think everybody's got that sort of devil and an angel on your shoulder. And that's why going into it, I was thinking, this will show what sort of person I am. Yeah. Whether I am like this horrible person, really, or whether, you can change, which is true. Everybody can fucking change. So
absolutely. And I think it comes across on the show. So yeah, we'll stay away from that now then, and we'll go more about the show and how you got through it. So you said it was your best experience, but worst experience. And we'll break that down a bit later on.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you about the application process. You said it was tough, but what challenges did you have to face? Obviously, you said you did it for the year before. How far did you get, or did you just get flat refused?
I passed all the physical tests, and then you get your interview. where it's television, you know, there's got to be something interesting about you. And I actually gave nothing away. So I just sort of spoke a little bit about what's in the public eye, which back then wasn't as much as what is now, but back then it was in the public eye, about being convicted of conspiracy to launder money and stuff like that. And I was just sort of explaining my personality a bit and really not giving much away because I just didn't want to. There's no other reason why I didn't want to. I am quite a secretive guy, so I don't like sharing stuff with people unless I think that it will improve something and whether it's more important to share it. So I didn't. And all I can say is they must have just thought he's not really got a great story. So because I didn't share it, that's all I would think, because all the physical tests and stuff I passed. So so they said, if we don't speak to you in the next month, then you're not successful. And I didn't get a call. So I thought, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to go again the year after. Maybe I'll have a different approach this time. Yeah. So you've got to go down to London and do you've got to get to 11.4, I think, on the beat test and do a certain amount of press-ups in a minute, certain amount of sit-ups and lifts and a jerry can walk and all that sort of stuff. And it whittles people down. But the main thing this time was the interview, where I actually explained what I've just explained to you, you know, what my life was like and the sort of stuff that I used to get up to and why I'm changed now and whatever, but then not quite sure what sort of person you are. And, you know, they must have seen for TV, it must have been a bit more appealing for TV then. So that's the application process through and through. And then it's extremely secretive. So they'll contact you a few times, then you go for a master interview where you go through more stuff and you've got all the cameras on you. But then the last thing they do is they say, yep, you're in. But they tell you at the very last minute, literally 2 days before, they said, yep, you're in, you're on the show. In 2 days, a taxi is going to come and pick you up and you won't know where you're going. So taxi comes, picks me up from Leeds, takes me to Manchester Airport, and then gets a text saying, tell the taxi driver Terminal 3. And told the taxi driver Terminal 3. And then 10 minutes later, actually change of plan, tell the taxi driver Terminal 1. And so it's all really secretive because they don't want you to check which country you're going to or whatever, and then be able to preempt it. Because when you get to the airport, there's a woman that meets you there. She says, switch your phone off now and give it to me. So you switch your phone off, give it to him, give him all your personal stuff, and then you're theirs. You know, so we're on the plane. We can't speak to any of the other contestants. We're all sat away from each other. And we've got a minibus from the highest point in Scotland. I've forgotten the airport now. Inverness, sorry. Landed in Inverness, then gets a minibus to go even further, like 4 hours into the top of Scotland. And we stayed at an Airbnb, and then they come and got us up at 1 a.m. and said, you're going on a boat now. So we get on a boat, and then the boat stops. It's just about getting light. The boat stops at this port. Fucking Foxy, Billy, and Ollerton get on these 3 boats and say, shut the fuck up. And so we're like, fuck, this is real now. But we didn't even know, like we thought they were just taking us to another part of the whatever. It's like shit. And then they pulled off the coast, said, right, can you see the people on the shore there? We're like, yeah, right, jump in, fucking swim to them. So we've got all our clothes on, we're like, oh fuck. But you don't just jump off. They're driving and they go, right, put your arms like this. We're going to fucking push you off. So you've got to stand on the edge and they just fucking push you into water. Bear in mind, it's October in Scotland. It's like fucking 1,000 knives on you and you're heavy as shit. And there's the current, like, see, you get to shore and then it obviously all starts. You know, you see all the rest on the shore.
So I suppose, how do you mentally prepare for that then? Obviously 2 days before, and you know, do they give you a certain date, or is it literally just bang, you could be going now?
We just go bang, and you know what, mate? Just like with rugby, you switch it on.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, nobody is going to fucking stop me from winning this. Like, this opportunity that I've got, nothing is going to stop me from winning this. I'm winning it. Wherever we're going, this is mine, because there's nobody on there who can beat me, is what I had in my mind. Obviously, I was the fucking fattest person there. Yeah. So everyone was ripped up. They're all CrossFitters, you know, incredibly fit. That was the fittest I was previous to that time in my life. That was the fittest I'd ever been. But it was more the fact that I wasn't bothered. And even all the staff said, you know, at the end, we actually written you off because when you're running with your top off, you're a fat fucker.
Yeah.
So they just thought, this guy ain't going to last. But that just goes to show it's not about that. Some proper fit athletes could not fucking take it and they just quit.
Yeah.
Whereas I was thinking, nothing is going to stop me from winning this program. From the second I stepped foot, I was not intimidated by anybody. It doesn't mean I didn't respect anybody.
Yeah.
I just was not intimidated by them. They were all super fit, and I just thought, I've got you. I've got this.
So the process leading up to, you said obviously you have a master interview. How far from the master interview to the right? There's a text for the taxi. How long do you get?
It was a month. So in September was the master interview, and they said, and they did the medicals as well. So they test your VO2 max and your bloods and all that stuff.
Is that when you know you're on the show?
No, you still don't know.
You don't know.
They've got twice as many. So it was like 44, just in case some people get ill before the show or you know, whatever. So you still don't know. So 44 of you go down to London to do the master interview, and then didn't really hear much apart from like a month later, well, less than a month later, just before the start of October, they called and said, right, yeah, in 2 days' time, you're going on a taxi. Depending on how long you cope, you might be 2 weeks out there, you might be fucking 2 hours. So it's just like, right, yeah, I just stopped everything, told everybody, says, yeah, I'm not going to be in the office. This is the first time ever.
Why?
Yeah, I told them why, yeah.
Right.
I said, it's the first. I said, I'm going to be on a TV show, but I've no idea all else. But I'm going to be away for 2 weeks, and this will be the first time in the 11 years that I'm not going to have my phone on me or be contactable at all. So when I go on holiday, it's just easier just to still work in it, so you don't come back to an onslaught of stuff. Yeah. So I was like, this is the first time ever. You will not be able to reach me in 14 days. So yeah, and then taxi takes you, and yeah, next thing you know, you're in Scotland.
How do you prepare for that then? How do you prepare for the show, not knowing he's going to be on it, or are you preparing as if you are going to be on it?
Yeah, of course. So continuously eating right, training right physically, but the mental preparation for it was thinking I can tackle absolutely anything that they throw, because if I make a mistake and I fuck up, there is no point worrying about it. So it's outside of my control, you know, what's happening in the future. But I actually had dreams about it. I was thinking about it that much, picturing myself at the end, shaking hands with Ant and the rest of them, and them saying, fucking hell, well done, and me going, yeah, cheers. I just pictured it all the time. Like, I'm getting right to the end, we're going to shake hands, and that's it. I'm going to do this. So yeah, it's just, you turn into somebody else, which is why I mentioned like the rugby thing. Like, you're obviously a proper lovely guy, very easy to talk to, very nice human. You know, you're a very nice human. But when you get on the pitch, you fucking turn it on. Yeah. And you drop your shoulder on people, and you fucking hurt people, and you push them out that fucking way when you're trampling on them, and you do shit like that. So that's what you do. When I was in the taxi, I was just saying to myself, this is fucking mine, I've got it. And it happens, you know, I've got it. You turn into somebody else.
So you visualize your goals then? You visualize that end picture?
Oh, all the time, mate. Whether it's business, whether it's training, how I want to look and feel, or how powerful I want to be, how fast I want to be and stuff, or like new challenges. I always visualize the end. I don't visualize during. I just think at the end, when I do it, it's going to be so sick when it looks like this, and just picturing that in your mind all the time.
I think that's a really good way of looking at it, because you're not letting anything get in your way then. You're just picturing that end goal. And I think that's a way to cope with stress, a way to cope with, I've got a lot on in front of me, but you don't see the steps to get there, do you? You're just seeing the end goal.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. Because at the end of the day, if you ask somebody the problem, there is a way in which you tell them not to fucking worry about it. So I've forgotten his name, but there was an Indian guru who had like thousands of people in front of him, and he said, who here has a problem? And obviously someone put their hand up. What's your problem? Oh, I don't have enough money. Right, well, can you control that? And he goes, well, yeah, I can. Right, why are you worried then? goes, well, don't know. Ask somebody else. Are you? What's your problem? Oh, well, this, and this. Can you control it? Can you do something about it? Yeah, I suppose I can. Then why are you worried? And then somebody else answered and said, yeah, I'm actually not very well. I've been hit with this terminal illness, and I don't really have more than a couple of months to live. And this guru said, can you control that? And this guy goes, no, I can't. And he said, well, why worry? Why worry about it? Whether you can or you can't control something, worrying about it will help nothing. So like with rugby, like with, anything, if you think before the game starts, fuck, I might get injured here, or yeah, my shoulder's hurting a bit, I think, something's going to happen, or we're never going to beat these guys, they're the fucking top of the league or something, it's likely to fucking happen because you're off your game. Whereas if you don't worry about it and you just fucking do what you're supposed to do, you might actually change and make that difference.
Yeah, so, no, I agree, yeah. I think going through that, obviously not worrying about it, some of them challenges, like, the one where you're crawling across 2 wires across the cliff. I mean, as someone who doesn't like height at all, like I went walking in Switzerland, and I'm not kidding you, there's a walkway like this big, with no barrier, and I had to literally because I'm well away. It's safe and stuff like that. So how do you cope with, earlier on you said to me about you're not bothered if, you die doing something or anything like this because you're just focused on the challenge in front of you, almost. Yeah. That's got to be a scary thought, climbing across. I mean, how far was that?
So it was I don't know, maybe 40 meters was the road. It's a long fucking distance, but the drop was unbelievable. Like, you're fucking dead. There's no doubt about it. You are fucking gone.
There's no catchment net or anything like that. There's no
catchment net. You've got your safety rope on, obviously, but that's the other thing. You need to change how you look at something. So just like you, with heights, you're scared because you know that if you fall, you're dead.
Yeah.
But if you just stay across those ropes, if you just fucking stay there on this walk in Switzerland, you're not going to die.
Yeah.
So it's changing the way you look at something. The tough thing was as well, right? In SAS, I don't want to fucking say that it was less tough for other people, but I was number 1. That was my allocated number, and they call you out in number order.
Yeah.
So I was like the guinea pig in a lot of things.
Yeah.
Number 1 would be called out to do. And now, luckily, I didn't do those rope things first, but you have an advantage when you watch someone do it and they fail and all that sort of stuff. But to go back to your question, how do you not fucking worry about falling and dying? It's because you think about getting across. So I'm just saying, not even thinking about falling. I'm fucking getting across there and I'm shaking the hands of the people that are on the other side.
It's interesting, really, because the way you talk about stuff like there, for me, when you're faced with a challenge, you're saying just follow the right path, right? Because if you don't, then that's when danger's going to happen.
Yeah.
But when it came to your past and stuff like that, you couldn't follow that path. But I suppose we're looking at 2 different things here. When you're looking at your life, you're looking at your journey. But when you're looking at a challenge, you are literally just looking at this little bit of road in front of you.
Yeah.
And how to get it. So to basically pass a challenge, you've got to go through the correct way of doing it and visualize of getting through it. But in your life, you've got so many roads that you can take. You're in control of which your decisions you make, aren't you?
Yeah, you're totally right. That's a great way of putting it. And everybody should look at life like that. Like, fuck yeah, of course, you have a lot of options all the time in life, but you also are in control of making the wrong one, going down the wrong path. Don't worry about it, because you can also then fucking turn around and go somewhere else.
That's great.
So
yeah, it's interesting when you think about that. I suppose I was meant to ask you when you first told me that you're going to Scotland. Were you a bit gutted because season 4 wasn't in Chile or something like that?
I know. Yeah, I was well gutted because season 2 was in the jungle somewhere. Season 3 was in the desert. 4 was in Chile in the mountains. So we're like, oh, wonder where it is this time. Yeah, and we got on this propeller-operated, real shit plane to Scotland.
But I suppose it was tougher because there's all them. It's cold. It was windy. It was horrible. It was.
So the reason why they took us there is because the final part of selection training for SAS is in Scotland.
Oh, really?
Because it's so unforgiving. Oh, honestly, I am not exaggerating. I don't remember when it ever stopped raining.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're wet and it's cold, you just can't warm up.
Yeah.
You're doing this with your hands constantly because your body is trying to get the blood going. You are constantly cold. Obviously, don't get me wrong, it is physically demanding. It is absolutely horrendous. But the mental aspect of it is the worst part of it all. People thinking, well, what's happening is some people believe they're not in control because their mind and their body is telling them, get the fuck out of here, we don't like this. So we're under a lot of stress here, get out of here. Your mind is always trying to protect your body because your brain is encased in your skull. And so to survive, it needs the skull to remain intact. Yeah. So it's sending you messages, we're going to get fucking hurt. Let's get out of here. So you have to fight against yourself because every cell in your body is going, I don't fucking like this. I've had no sleep. I've had no food. We're doing physical exercise continuously. We're getting to the point where we're going to get hypothermia because you're wet and you're cold all the time. Your body is screaming alarm bells saying, fucking quit, stop right now. It's the fact that you take a deep breath and you go, I'm in control. I can fucking do this. So what?
Yeah.
Bring me something else. Because it happened constantly. They were giving you one of the mental torture things was the false hope. So they would say, get over that hill, which is like a fucking mountain. Get over that hill with this on your back and this, and this. And at the other end, the Land Rovers, the cars will take you away. We got over the hill to the other end and you just start getting to the Land Rovers and they drive off. And so you think, oh, because you're thinking, yes, we're going to get to the landing soon. That mountain was horrendous. We're here now, we're here. And then it'll get off and it takes it away from you. And then one of them will go, extraction has been compromised. Turn around, we're going back to the water. And that's when a few people were just like, took the bands off. Can't do it anymore because you've given it your all. And then you get given that little ray of sunshine and then it gets taken away from you. It just breaks people. But what you need to do is just gather yourself and go, yeah, no worries. Let's fucking do it. We're turning around. We still aren't eating out. We've got to do another 3-hour slog up this hill. My feet are in bits. My legs can't even feel them. My heart's on in fucking overdrive. You just think, fuck it, let's do it.
Do you ever think of, like, obviously, do you ever think that in actual fact, if I do get to a bad state, I've got medics there, because it's a TV show, obviously, I've got medics there, I've got people that can help me out but I'm going to take myself to the last point. So I know I've given it 110%.
Yeah, so that last bit I agree with, definitely. But with regards to thinking there's people on site, I can't honestly remember if that went through my mind, like, well, if I get hurt here, I'm going to be all right. It was more the fact that from the second you land and you get pushed into the water and then you've got to do drills, get fully naked and crawl over thorns and rocks and stuff continuously. Everybody was injured from day one. So you've just got to think, I'm cool with this. Unless, obviously, if somebody breaks something or something like that, it's physically, it's very difficult. It's not impossible, but it's physically very difficult to still complete all those tasks.
Honestly, it's crazy to think what you went through. Crazy to think what you went through. But what was your toughest challenge that you did on the show?
By far, easy to answer this, the stress positions when you're being tortured.
So that then goes back to your...
Oh, yeah, honestly, it goes back to that. So prior to that, though, just to build a picture, so this is like day 9 or 10. So remember, you've been destroyed within a fucking inch of your spirit for 9 days prior to that. And then you go on the run for 24 hours.
Yeah.
You're on the run for 24 hours before you're captured. And you just, all we had was a tin of chickpeas and water. So you're completely depleted. You know, don't even worry about your fucking batteries. Your reserve batteries are completely depleted. You have nothing left and you're freezing. And then they put you in a room and they put some headphones on you with babies crying, with pigs screaming. drilling, people drilling in the street and stuff, and then you're told to sit cross-legged on a concrete floor with your hands on your head like this, and so your spine and your back and your shoulders, just when you sit there for 30 seconds. Now, if I was to do it on floor, I'd think, fuck, this is killing. But you've got someone there and you've got goggles on, you can't see anything. The worst part is when you were in pain and you'd slowly, I'd just be like, oh God, coming forward a little bit. There's someone there all the time, and they come running up to you. They put their knee in your back and they pull your arms back. Yeah. So you just know in your mind, I'm fucking not getting any rest here whatsoever. And then they're messing with you, and then they pick you up, put you against a wall, and you've got to stay strong against the wall. And if your head goes down a bit, they're hitting you with a stick, and you've got to come back up. It wrecked me for like 2 weeks after. My body was like almost disformed. Like my shoulder was in the wrong, like it wasn't where it was supposed to be really before I got physio, because you're in this position for so long, your muscles just end up sort of forming to what it is. So much so that it was such a sigh of relief when you were going to go be interrogated. So yeah, when they picked you up and they were like, right, you're going through, I was thinking, oh yes, thank God I'm going to talk for as long as possible during this interrogation, because I don't fucking want to go back in there and be sat on that floor. So by far, mate, that was the worst part of it all. It was really, really bad. And I'm not surprised it whittled it down to 4 people from 12, I think, or 10. Oh yeah, it was 2 groups of 5, Alpha Team and Bravo. It whittled it down to 4 because that will eventually break everyone. So even Ant Middleton said, during like the 14th hour or something, he started thinking, I can't fucking do much more of this. And then, during training, and then they pulled him out, and he was thinking, he actually says openly, so it's not disrespectful to him, he says openly, if that would have gone on for any longer, he'd probably fucking quit.
Really?
Because it is so, and you're freezing as well. Remember, you're starving, you can't have any break. But yeah, so what I did to take myself away was I watched Transformers in my mind from start to finish, honestly. So you go somewhere else. So I started watching the film from start to finish as much as I can remember, and you forget where you are eventually. And then you might have been sat there. So I think it was around 13 and a half hours we were tortured for after being on the run for 24 hours. And so you're so disorientated when they take your hood off and it's light and it's like it's a new day and it's, you're disorientated and whatever, but then you're just buzzing because you've made it. But the fact that we're in there for so long, your mind will eventually be your fucking downfall. So you have to deceive your mind into believing you're fucking somewhere else. You sat in a cinema watching your favorite film with some popcorn and you're warm and you're comfortable, and just pretend that that's where you are, and your mind will believe it.
Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy. And what's your best bit then? Watching Transformers while you're in a room?
Yeah. No, the best bit obviously has to be the end. It was unbelievable. I'm not an emotional guy, so it was unbelievably emotional because, again, it was a false promise. So there's me and Chris, who's a proper tough lad. Yeah. Me and him at the end, we'd just done our anti-drowning thing in the water, come out absolutely freezing, fucked, and Ant takes us to the bottom of this mountain, and he says, it's about 3 hours up one side, 3 hours down the other. Bear in mind, we've got about an inch of water still in our boots, like moving backward and forward, and the boots are fucked now as well. Everything's fucked, and you're thinking we've got to run for 3 hours up this one mountain and run back down 3 hours on the opposite side when we're absolutely in bits. And he says, so it's just get it done. If you finish a minute later than the 6 hours, you are not fucking continuing with the course. So he says, do you want to continue? And we both said, yeah, we're happy. Let's go. Let's do it. And he said, well, I'm glad you said that because we're not actually doing that. This is the end of the course. And he said, both stand forward. It still doesn't mean, just because you get to the end of the course, it still doesn't mean that you're fucking passed. Yeah. Because you might be the fittest person in the world, but you might not be what we want. Yeah. And then when he said, we're happy for you both to be winners, and you're what the special forces need and stuff like this. It just fucking, because you just think, I'm not going to be in pain anymore.
Yeah.
Like, this is it. We're done. We're not going to be in pain anymore, because pain is fucking temporary. You know this, and I don't want to be cringe and talking about it, but when you are in pain, when you're training or in anything, when you're working and you're getting to your limit, you know that eventually it's going to stop. So pain is always temporary. Now, people might think, yeah, but what if it's a few hours? What if it's a few weeks? What if it's a fucking year? Yeah, but it's still temporary. Pain is temporary. Eventually, it will be replaced by something else. So you're in pain now. If it's so temporary that if you quit, you fucking that quitting will last forever.
Yeah.
So if you stop doing what you're doing because you're in pain, that lasts forever, but pain fucking doesn't. So just thinking, I'm already in pain. You know, when you're going up the mountain and people are dropping, you think, I'm already in fucking pain. Let's keep going, because eventually it will stop. Who knows when it will? We might be fucking running for 24 hours straight, but eventually it will fucking stop. So think about that.
I know you said people in the mind like get to a point where they're gone as far. And listening to you now, I assume the answer is no, but did you ever get to a point where you're going to voluntarily leave?
No way. Obviously, just like, so there was a girl on it called Ellie, and she never quit, but they had to pull her because she was getting onset of hypothermia. Yeah. So that's kind of what would have stopped me.
Yeah.
It's the fact that you may have some sort of permanent damage.
Yeah.
They don't fucking medically pull you now. So no, you know that you're confident in your body. You know what? Maybe Ellie might have been able to keep going, for a few more hours, but they have a responsibility, to think, fuck, we need to get her out before she starts shutting down. So no, mate, not one point in my mind did I think this fucking badge is getting ripped off, because I knew that it was going to be over. Even on day one, I just think, I know there's 11 or 12 more days, but then that's it.
That's tough.
Even if they shocked us and said, yeah, 12 days have gone by, that's only actually half of this course, so the new series is 24 days. I'd think, fucking hell, sweet. At least after 24 days, it's going to be over.
That mindset's really good, really good. Did you ever feel like the DS would send you home? Like sometimes they call people out and they say, right, off you go. Did you ever feel vulnerable to that?
Yeah. So I've spoke to them since, and they've said they did it to a few people, but they put me in the bottom 6 when I lost my head a bit when I went back into the digs, because there was 3 lads, and I won't name them. Sorry, 2 lads and a girl who dropped their barrel before I did.
Yeah.
But at this one point, everybody had to hold the barrel in the air, and whoever held it up the longest was able to go back into the barracks. And 3 people dropped before me, but he said, right, you can go back in the barracks. And I was in the bottom 6 with other people who shouldn't have been in the bottom 6 either. So that was a point where they said, we knew you weren't in the bottom 6, but we wanted to see if it would hurt you by putting you in the bottom 6 mentally. And you know what? It fucking did. I was thinking. So I went back into the digs and I said to one of the lads, you fucking dropped your barrel before me. How come I was out there and you fucking dropped your barrel? And he goes, I don't know why. And I was like, it's fucking bullshit. But it did play on my mind. I thought, fuck me, they might send me home. That's when it happened, when I was in the bottom 6. So their fucking mind game worked. I did think.
They know exactly what they're doing, don't they?
Yeah.
Exactly what they're doing.
But I thought, there's no point in still not trying my absolute best. If they send me home, they send me home. I'm not going to now think, fucking hell, what's the point? What's the point in trying anymore? Because I just think, at least I can walk off if they send me home, knowing that I couldn't give anything else.
And I think that's the same on a rugby field, and when you're training as well for stuff, give 100%, because the only person you're letting down is yourself.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you know, if you get absolutely spanked, which I know me and you have been in a few games, if you've absolutely, you know what a game I remember away at Liverpool, and it was like a proper scrappy game. We were up, they were up, we were up, they were up, and everyone was on form and playing absolutely awesome. And we ended up losing. And it was tough. It was a tough loss, was that? But everyone was all right in changing rooms. Like, fucking hell, we could not have played any better than that.
Yeah.
So
and that was that when they had the you were playing in the middle of their campus, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
Song about me on that one. I'm not going to remind you what it was.
It was what?
The campus started singing the song about me.
Did they?
Yeah, Joe brought it up in his best man speech to me. He's big, he's round, he bounces off the ground. And it's like he said you got up and you knew it was about me, so you just laughed it off. And
yeah,
I think going back to the mental stuff, like it doesn't matter what people throw at you. You know you're giving your best. You can't do any more than that.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I remember that game vividly. It was tough. It was tough.
Yeah.
Did you ever? Are you at a point like you see it on the TV? They're up in your face, the final episode, and they're shouting at you and they're saying all this crap and whatever and rubbish to put you off. Did you ever just want to just like burst into laughter and be like, "You're giving me shit here, but I'm not actually bothered"?
No, I thought what you've just said.
Yeah.
So nothing bothered me. Being shouted at, being all that sort of stuff. That doesn't bother me whatsoever. You become, you know what sort of person you have to be when you're there, and you switch it on. So everyone's going ballistic. You don't. There were a few people there that had soft shells, and it got to them. But shouting and stuff like that would never get to me. I'll tell you what was. So the if you remember from the series, the what's he called? Not the marshal, the guy who you're not allowed to see.
Oh yeah, I know you're talking about.
Umpire.
That's him, yeah.
So he said, watching it back, they said, right, have a go at Chris because he's got like a bit of a aggressive tendency. Have a go at Chris, have a go at these. And the girls, obviously, I'm not being sexist, but a lot of girls, for me and you, and for guys who have come from sporting backgrounds and stuff like that, being shouted at and being abused and stuff, it's just part and part of what it is. But not a lot of women experience that because women are just nicer people, aren't they, than guys?
Yeah.
So they know that if they were going to start abusing and shouting at the girls, it would have more of an effect. But the umpire said, because of my background, this is how good they are at reading people. He said, because of this guy's background, number one, if you shout and get in his face, he's not going to be fucking bothered. Send in Liz. And you know what? It fucking worked. So I was very uneasy around her. She was being incredibly nice to me and I couldn't fucking cope with it. Like,
yeah,
she was saying, well, what's this and what's this? And you honestly, your guard is down and they're so clever. They're obviously used at the highest level to fucking get information out of people. So she was really calm, very polite and very nice. And it fucking got me. It made me very uneasy being around her. Whereas if I had the tall, bald guy shouting and bawling in my face, I'd be able to cope with it because I know that I'd be able to respond and go, listen, I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about and stuff like this. Whereas when she's very direct with her eye contact and being nice and lovely, it is fucking hard not to give her information.
Yeah.
Because you don't want her to think that you're lying.
Yeah.
Because you're thinking about stuff. So, with them shouting and stuff, it didn't make me think to laugh or to get angry at them or talk like that. I was just absorbing it. It was totally water off a duck's back. I just didn't think about it at all.
And a couple more questions then, because I know it will take a bit of time. But after winning the show, SAS career or not?
No. You know what? It's not. It's not a disrespectful laugh because the SAS is the highest. That is the fucking highest you can get. Those people have the perfect amount of intellect combined with the perfect amount of savagery to be able to carry yourself and all that stuff. The reason why I wouldn't go in the forces from simply a personal reason is I wouldn't want somebody else to pay me and tell me to kill someone and for me to have to do it.
Yeah.
Because that's what joining the forces is. You are paid to eventually probably kill someone, and you are told you're supposed to kill that person for whatever reason it might be. It might be the right reason, it might not be, but that's what it is. You join the forces, eventually you're going to kill someone. Actually, no, what am I talking about? Not everybody is eventually going to kill someone, but that's what they say to you, you know, when you go through it. You're getting hired, you're getting paid. Eventually, you might have to kill someone, and that's your job. You're told to do that. So that's the thing that I wouldn't be able to do, you know. I like how elite it is, but at the end of the day, they would get deployed anywhere in the world and say, go to this base or do this and fucking wipe it clean. And they would have to just kill everybody. Whether they agreed with it or not, that's their job. So that's the reason why I wouldn't, mate. No SAS career for me.
Oh, good. And after winning the show, would you class yourself as a celebrity? You probably would.
I was before, so...
The face of Leeds.
Not all, mate. I don't think that. Now, you know what? Without blowing smoke up my ass, a lot of people do perceive you as that. I get a lot of messages from people who, again, see you as this inspiration. And again, I'm not trying to blow smoke up my ass, but how people perceive things is fucking cool. Yeah. So not as much messages anymore, but certainly straight after, people were going through some proper tough times and were just asking me for advice because they saw me as this person that can get through stuff, which is where I didn't really see myself as that person. I definitely don't see myself as a celebrity. I wrote like that. But if people see you as a bit of an inspiration and want to tap in and just get a bit of advice, especially with anxiety, you know, through lockdown, I was speaking to a lot of people, mainly over Instagram, that just wanted to speak to me because they couldn't cope. And it made me feel so lucky to not have that. I don't think I've ever had anxiety in my life. I don't know why I've never had anxiety in my life, but I'm so lucky to not have it because people who do have it, it must just be an absolute nightmare. Yeah. People have an anxiety thinking that, you know, the mind is just going to go to scrambled eggs if they stay in the house for any more time, you know, not knowing what's going to happen. And basically the mind, again, trying to protect the body is what's happening. If we take it down, I'll just go a little bit deep with you now, and then I won't take up much more of your time, but you know what we can see here, and we can see each other. Yeah. And it's light, and you're looking at this computer, and we can see each other. How do we know that what we're looking at is what we're looking at? We don't. Our brain is telling us that Jack is there, and I'm speaking to him, and this is this. But your brain has never seen daylight, ever. It is encased in a skull. It has never seen daylight, but it is telling you that what your eyes can see is what we are looking at right now. So you can control your mind to see what you want to see. And if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Because there's a story where a woman was in a coma for a long time, and she came out and she had complete loss of memories, had no idea who she was. So you know what they did to her family to try and make her a stronger person? They said that she was in the Navy SEALs and she was a captain before she went into this coma. And so the rest of her life, she portrayed herself as this leader, as this captain, as this person, lived the rest of her life with her family, but changed. And nothing changed about her history. She just changed the way she looked at things because convinced the mind that she was this leader and this captain of the Navy SEALs in America. So that's the exact same thing that we can do. Like, your brain hasn't seen all this, but we believe what we're seeing because the brain is convincing us that what we're looking at right now is what we're looking at. But it has never seen daylight. It's been encased in a skull. So that's why you tell yourself. Yeah.
It's a good way of thinking about, you know, if you're ever dealing with adversity or anything like that, train your mind to look at the positive side of stuff and get through it.
Yeah, absolutely. To just,
I know it's not easy for everybody. We know it's not easy for everybody.
Of course it's not. It's not.
It's nice that people turn to you for advice and help.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And when people are suffering, all you want to do is help them, and you want to protect people and stuff. And again, I don't have all the answers. I've got a lot of negatives. You know, I've got a lot of downfalls as a person. But if you can just get to one person who thinks, actually, yeah, my whole life I've thought this is how I'm going to portray myself. Tomorrow, I'm just going to wake up and be a new person. You know, again, like you have people with anxiety that can't get out of bed because they have so much anxiety. They can't get themselves to get out of bed. And that's because their mind is putting fear into what they can see, to say you may get hit by a bus today if you go out. So don't go out, because your brain wants you to be safe all the time, which is fine. You know, of course, you want to be safe all the time, but don't let your brain control you, because that's yours. That's your brain. You tell it what to do. You tell your muscles what to do. You tell your heart what to do. Don't let that tell you and control your life, and you fear something that may never happen ever.
It's a hugely interesting way of looking at stuff. A couple of things then. What are the DSs actually like outside of the show?
Oh, class. Proper lovely people. They're just like, again, you know, the brotherhood with rugby. There's the brotherhood in the forces. It's what they have. It's very, very similar banter. They're proper sound guys. They've got time for you. They're obviously, you know, as humans, they're up there. They're the fucking elite, but they don't see themselves as that. They just say they're average blokes just doing what they fucking do. Trying to portray that, again, the mindset that there's nothing special about them, even though they're labelled as special forces. They're just the same as me and you. They just chose to do different things, like you were talking about, the paths they go down. So proper top blokes, yeah, all of them proper top blokes outside of it, but they've got a job to do when they get there, and they've got to be nasty fuckers, and they do the job to a T, don't they?
Yeah, like we do our job on the rugby field.
Yeah.
And I say you didn't class yourself as a celebrity, but celebrity workout.
Oh yeah.
I see you post stuff on Instagram, working out with the Welsh rugby players.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So again, that's just Craig. Craig is a trainer from Wales. He just contacted me and said, "Do you fancy jumping in on a few workouts?" This was last year. I said, "Yeah, of course I will," because it was during lockdown. Yeah, of course I'll tag in. And since then, again, because it's the rugby lads and stuff, we just got on with each other. It's the same banter and stuff. And yeah, since then, other people have tagged in and everything. So it's cool. Yeah, you just get to speak to like-minded people.
Good. And then finally, last question. What advice? I mean, I suppose it's a bit of a different question to what I ask the others, because obviously what you went through. But what advice would you give to a 15-year-old Jimmy? Or I suppose the question I'm going to ask you then is, what advice would you give to a teenager now that, you know, to look ahead to the future?
Yeah. The best advice I could give, which again, it falls on a lot of deaf ears, is to do what's right. So what you think is the right thing to do, just do it. Everything else is just grey fluff. So people won't do the right thing because it's not cool sometimes. So they will do things to people or whatever because it comes across to them as cool. And let's take rugby, for example. I know I keep coming back to it, but if somebody wants to be the best player, they will probably train every fucking day.
Yeah.
And will eat right and train every day. Some people might take the piss out of them for that and go, "Why are you not coming out? What are you being a loser for? And not drinking when you come out, you know, and stuff." So that eventually people listen to it and they don't do the right thing. If that's the right thing to them, they don't do the right thing and they go off the path because of all the grey fluff and shit. Whereas the black and white of it is, if you honestly believe and get a good job and work hard now so that later you don't have to work hard because you value money as freedom, which a lot of people do.
Yeah.
If you have a lot of money, it tends to, not all the time, but it tends to walk hand in hand with freedom.
Yeah.
You can be free. You don't have to be fucking flogged until you're 67 until you can retire. You can retire a bit earlier. Whereas other people who might have the good intention to go, yeah, actually, I do want to study and get A's so that I can be a fucking solicitor or a doctor or whatever. It's not cool to, they might, oh, you still there, bud?
Yeah, hold on. Yeah.
I just call them.
Yeah,
So
no,
yeah, so it's that. I know people class it as peer pressure, but it's kind of the social norm to have friends around you and to have friends. Whereas the advice I would give to teenagers is to just do the right thing. I'm not going to be too specific about it, but if you feel like doing something is right, don't let anybody change your mind.
Yeah.
Because it's those outside influences that carve your fucking future. So
you see a lot of those for positive people, like on positive podcasts. A lot of people say, just influence yourself. Don't be influenced by others. Do what you think is the right way of doing stuff, and stick to it. And I think you're completely right. But no, I thanks very much for your time today. Really appreciate that.
Any time, mate.
It comes. I've learned a lot of stuff from that, and certainly learned about the mind and stuff like that, and how it takes you to a different place, or how you can take it to a different place. And I think that can really help. But really appreciate your time. So thanks very much.
No, thank you, mate. Good to chat to you. But yeah, no, cool. The last thing I'll just say as well, especially with regards to the youth of today, is that birds of a feather flock together. Always remember that, because if you look around yourself and you're surrounded by fucking losers, then you need to get out of there and surround yourself with winners. Yeah. Unless you're happy being a loser, in which case birds of a feather flock together. But if you want to do well, remove yourself from a group of losers, which is exactly what happened to me. I was surrounded by losers and I didn't know it until I got removed. And then I thought, God, what a fucking loser I used to be.
Yeah.
Surround yourself with nice people who have got motivation and drive and who want to do things with their life, because we're not here for that long. You turn around and your fucking life's gone, isn't it? So to do something worthwhile doing, surround yourself with good people, and eventually you'll just be fucking doing the right stuff you were supposed to do anyways.
Brilliant.
But I appreciate your time on this, mate.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Good.